Hot take, but I'm more concerned by finding vibrating butt plugs at Walmart than I am by seeing cigarettes sold at my local pharmacy. Mills butts in, pharmacies butt out. I'm Drew Hoagland. Welcome back to another episode on The Maine Perspective. Today, we're talking about a controversial new law, LD 166, that just got passed that prohibits the sale of tobacco in pharmacies here in the state of Maine. Whether you're a smoker or a non-smoker, I don't smoke tobacco. I don't have a problem seeing it in a pharmacy. And if I do, I have the freedom to go to another pharmacy that doesn't offer that. But for the places, the pharmacies, whether it's Shaw's, a grocery store, or Walgreens, or my local pharmacy, it doesn't affect me. Like, I go in and I buy whatever I need. They're buying whatever they need, and it doesn't affect me. And you might say, well, smoking is something that affects other people, secondhand smoke and the ozone layer, but we already have laws against those things. Like, you can't smoke too close to a store, and smokers are already aware of people around them for the most part. Obviously, you have people that don't care or somehow don't know, but it's not illegal. Like, smoking tobacco is not illegal. But what Mills is doing is making it prohibitive for certain businesses and not for others. And this was a bill proposed out of Portland, and it wasn't even by popular vote. It wasn't brought to the people at all. So whether you're a smoker or not, like, this is an infringement on our freedom, and this is government overreach to the max. I'm not a smoker, but when my coworkers go out for a smoke break, when we are allowed breaks, they don't go out on a special time, but when we go out on breaks and they're smoking cigarettes, I don't care. And they're happier. Like, it causes them less stress. What it does to their body does not affect me. I don't care. Just like they shouldn't care who I go home with at the end of the night. It doesn't matter. So that's why this matters to me, because this is our freedom being slowly expunged from us. And government overreach. When does it stop? Governor Janet Mills, when have you had enough? You are sucking the Maine people dry, the very blood that you come from. What is your plan here? Because when you're done your tenure, no one's going to want you around because you've done so much harm to the state from which you came. Janet Mills signs bill preventing Maine pharmacies from selling tobacco products. Presented by the Maine Wire and Libby Palenza on July 28, 2025. Maine Governor Janet Mills has signed a bill into law prohibiting pharmacies from selling tobacco products beginning in April of next year. Fiscal estimates suggest this move will cost the state about $800,000 in the next fiscal year, with projections indicating similar levels of loss expected for the fiscal year 2027 to 2028 and fiscal year 2028 to 2029. Although many retail pharmacies, including CVS in 2014 and Hannaford in 2020, have independently decided to stop offering tobacco products in stores, businesses will no longer have that option doing so next spring. Under LD 166, sponsored by Representative Matt Moonen, a Democrat of Portland, Pharmacies and retail establishments containing pharmacies will be ineligible for tobacco licenses. In testimony, including this bill, Representative Moonen suggested that pharmacies are widely viewed as healthcare providers and should not be sending mixed messages regarding tobacco use to consumers. According to Moonen, Walgreens and Shaw's are the only major retailers left in the state that have not indicated an intention to remove tobacco products from their stores. I see no reason why we should wait around for them to do the right thing and believe now is the time for us to take action, said Moonen.
What?
Several representatives of public health interests are also offered testimony in support of the bill. The American Heart Association noted that the United States is the only country that allows for tobacco to be sold in pharmacies. Testifying in opposition to this bill was the Maine Policy Institute, MPI, a free market, nonpartisan think tank. According to MPI, prohibiting the sale of tobacco in pharmacies unfairly singles out certain businesses while allowing others to continue selling these legal products. The selective restriction creates an uneven playing field and arbitrarily disadvantages retailers that operate pharmacies within their establishment. They continued, adding that consumers have options if they prefer to frequent a pharmacy that does not sell tobacco products. MPI further pointed out that prohibiting the sale of tobacco in certain establishments can be expected not to reduce tobacco consumption, but rather only to drive sales to alternate outlets. Rather than imposing selective bans that limit economic freedom and personal choice, Maine should focus on continuing successful public education campaigns that inform consumers, particularly young people, about the risk associated with tobacco use, they argued. Now that LD 166 has been signed into law, it would be considered a civil violation punishable by a fine of up to $2,000 daily for a pharmacy or retail establishment that contains a pharmacy to sell tobacco products. This new prohibition will take effect beginning on April 1st, 2026. As if it's an April Fool's joke. Because in a free country, this has to be a joke. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I have coworkers and loved ones that do. And I don't care. Just like I have friends, loved ones, coworkers that drink alcohol, and there can be irresponsibilities with that. This is a free country. Freedom comes at a cost. Here in America, I've been watching protesters stomp on the American flag in protest. Nothing happens to them. I'm outraged inside, but I understand that that is their freedom. They're free to be moronic, and that has to be the understanding. Freedom comes at a cost. You're not always going to understand or agree or see eye to eye with people that are also here in the country living under freedom. And that's why I support freedom to so many ends. Don't hurt other people. Don't come for our guns. Don't come for our freedoms. Don't come for our children. Pretty much you're good. And I can see where smoking can be seen as, well, it does hurt other people, but we have laws on it already. And if those laws aren't enough, then take it up and make smoking illegal altogether. But these in-between laws, it's government overreach. It is government overreach. We need to go back to a country that is more free than where we are at currently. Because if we keep going down this road 100 years from now, we will not recognize this place. If you're watching this in 100 years from now, what does the world look like around you? Are you able to do some of the things that I'm talking about that I may not even know are going to be restrictions for you in the future? And it may sound funny, but literally, when things are uploaded to the internet, they are forever. They're on servers and it can be forever. So this one got me kind of triggered out of nowhere because, like I said, I'm not a smoker. But this is so clearly government overreach to me. I don't know how else to approach it. And this is the beginning. In my opinion, this is the beginning. This is the understandable one that people will get on board for. But then in 3 years, it'll be something entirely different. Maybe it's sugary food being sold at an organic farm stand. Or or if you sell organic food, you can't sell processed meats. That sounds crazy. We live in a crazy time. When are laws enough? When can we just sit back and say enough is enough? Why do we have to keep building bills and bills and bills to try and do what's already being done fairly normally on a regular basis? But now we have more restrictions and more hoops to jump through. Okay, so the opening of my video was confronting, but so was my experience when I was going to get my essential amino acid energy mix from Walmart. So often like the health food section, supplement section, uh, really close to where you go and get your pharmacy, right next to the pharmacy in Walmart. And I'm just there. I'm minding my business. Oh, I don't like to film with those on, but they were on. My bone conducting headset and minding my own business. Grabbed what I needed and then turning, going to see if there's anything else, deodorant or shampoo or anything like that that I need just while I'm looking around. And what's right there? At luckily my eye level. So like must have been at least 5'8". I'm 6 feet tall, so it must have been, it's up there. It's not child height. It's not child height. I'll give Walmart that. But in this case, it's plexiglass and locked. There is a vibrating butt plug plus, and as a grown man, I was a little bit shocked. Like I'm in Walmart. Why am I seeing sex toys? And sure, they're not at child's height, but you have a tall teenager. That's awkward. Like when it comes to tobacco, that's not an awkward conversation. Like it's cut and dry. Like that's bad for your health, stigmatizing, blah, 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 blah. Don't do it. Move on. Mom, what's that thing that says it vibrates? Where does it go? No, that's awkward. That is so awkward. That is more uncomfortable for me. And I'm a grown ass single male, gay, bi, whatever you want to label me as. It's uncomfortable. The flawed premise. Ineffectiveness and symbolism over substance. The core argument against LD 166 is that its symbolic gesture will have a negligible impact on smoking rates while causing tangible economic harm. The substitution fallacy. The claim that this will prevent smoking is fundamentally weak. As opponents like the Maine Policy Institute rightly argued, this ban does not make tobacco less available, it merely shifts the point of sale from the pharmacy to the gas station or convenience store, often located in the same plaza or just down the street. An adult seeking to buy a legal product will face a minor inconvenience, not a significant barrier to purchase. Ignoring the root cause. The policy fails to address why people smoke. It is retail-level intervention for a complex issue rooted in addiction, social norms, and personal choice. A truly effective strategy would include robust funding for cessation programs, mental health support, and public education, areas where critics could argue the state is under-investing. Instead, the government chose a policy that looks like strong action, but avoids the harder, more expensive work of actually helping smokers quit. This is a classic example of what can be labeled feel-good legislation. It allows politicians to claim they have done something about a problem without addressing its core complexities. Augusta is choosing policies that look good in press releases over the policies that actually help Maine people. An uneven playing field. The MPI's argument that the ban unfairly singles out certain businesses is precise and compelling. The government is creating two classes of retailers for a legal product. A Hannaford with a pharmacy is now forbidden from selling tobacco, while the corner store next door faces no such restrictions. This is not free enterprise. It is the government picking winners and losers in the marketplace. The threat to independent pharmacies. While large chains like Walgreens will lose revenue, the real victims could be Maine's independent pharmacies. These businesses are often critical community hubs in small towns. They operate on thin margins, and the revenue from tobacco sales and the associated basket purchases of the other goods can be the difference between solvency and closure. This law, championed by the Portland Democrat, could shutter a vital business in a rural community that has few alternatives. While a legislator from Maine's wealthiest city scores political points, the independent pharmacist in Dover Foxcroft or Caribou is pushed closer to bankruptcy. This administration is sacrificing rural economies for Portland's political agendas. The government as a moral arbiter. The argument from the bill's sponsor that pharmacies shouldn't send mixed messages is a deeply paternalistic view of the role of government. It presumes that the state has the right and wisdom to enforce a moral consistency on private businesses. Where does this end? Must a grocery store that sells organic vegetables be banned from selling sugary sodas and processed foods? This sets a dangerous precedent for arbitrary government interference in lawful commerce. Contempt for the consumer. The policy is implicitly built on a low opinion of the average Mainer. It assumes that citizens are so easily swayed by product placement that they cannot be trusted to make their own health decisions. The message is, you are not smart enough to visit a pharmacy for medicine while also making a separate adult choice to purchase a legal tobacco product. This is an elitist viewpoint that will offend many. Governor Mills and the Augusta politicians do not trust you. They don't trust business owners to run their shops, and they don't trust you to make your own choices. They believe the government must control the marketplace and protect you from yourself. This is not the Maine way, and this is not the American way. These are just my thoughts and ideas, y'all. I hope that you found something from this video. If you did, I really hope that you would go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share this, because the more this information gets out there, the more the conversation can keep going, and the more that we can get to the bottom of an issue like a free society should. We're not a democracy, we're a constitutional republic, and we need to embrace that. We need to understand that, and that comes with consequences that you personally might not always agree with. But if it swings both ways, that is how this is supposed to work. It's a little give, it's a little take, and in the end, the compromise leads to something better. So let's work on that together. And y'all, until the next video, this has been Drew Hoagland with the Maine Perspective.
Ready, fight!